Well, hello everyone. This is just something that I thought about doing today. It's June 18th, and the year is 2021, of course, and that means that Paul McCartney is 79 years old today. So I thought that maybe we would do a little bit of a little discussion. It could be just very loose, very free. Get some people up here maybe who are fans of Paul McCartney and see what we can discuss. And I'm sure that one of the biggest topics we're going to be focused on probably going to have to do with the announcement about the Get Back film that came out and the fact that it's going to wind up not being in theaters and it's going to be on TV. It's a TV documentary now instead of a theatrical movie event. So, but hopefully that's not the only topic that we discuss. So, hello everybody. I see people are coming in here. I was at work all day today, and I'm actually waiting for the Paul McCartney Royal Mail stamps to come. And when those stamps arrive, I'd make a video showing them and talking about them. I thought that maybe they would arrive today. I was having a little bit of optimism that perhaps those stamps would arrive today, and then I'd be able to make a Paul McCartney birthday video just showing those stamps, but they did not arrive. So when they arrive, then I'll make a video, but it won't be Paul's birthday then. So, all right. Yeah. So the idea here is that I'm going to put an invite link on here. Going to try to stick to talking about Paul. Could be Beatles related in general. Probably going to be talking about Get Back. The changes there. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I can't get you all. Day Tripper, Hudson. Just looking at some of the people here. Got a little bit of a cough going on here because of allergies. So I have a seltzer, and I'm going to bring somebody up now. Look, what it is.
What is? It's the man's birthday.
It's the man's birthday. Boy, you look a lot bigger than me with this particular scheme we have going there.
It's the phone.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it is quite the day today, is it not?
79.
Yeah, it's hard to believe. I mean, I wanted to do something because it's not. Well, I mean, not every year. I don't do it every year, but I didn't want to not recognize it at all. So I was saying earlier that if those Royal Mail stamps by any miracle had arrived today, I would have used the opportunity to say happy birthday and show the stamps. Since
Yeah,
it did, I said, okay, let me go on here and do something. Probably not going to be on that long, but it depends how it goes. You know what I mean?
you never know.
Uh, yes, indeed, you do.
I did pick up something on for the occasion today at
Oh,
a
good.
record store,
Oh, just for
and
the occasion.
it's something I haven't had, but it's something that I really hope people will one day, more people will recognize as part of McCartney's career, because it really is really does take a lot of talent to do what he did with, and people might not like this genre of music, but I picked up the DVD set.
Oh,
This has
I don't have it. Let me blow that up.
yeah. So this has the performance and a couple of the two documentaries on the making of the project, and I really enjoy this a lot. The music aspect of it is really good. The story is okay, but again, like McCartney, his music, recording music, writing music, I think it just comes so natural to him, and excuse me, it really shines on the Liverpool Oratorio, and I really think this is one of the better things that he did in the classical, field or
Hmm.
genre. So this is really an area that I wish people would kind of recognize, or start to appreciate a little bit more.
Yeah, I haven't even appreciated it. Well, when it was new, I know I went out.
Right.
I try to save what I was saying out of my way to record whatever was on, with him with interviews and things like that. But as far as listening to the actual music, I don't think I own that. I got some other ones. I have the Ocean's Kingdom thing. I think I have
Yeah.
Standing Stone, but yeah, I guess I
And
don't have a
Standing
complete
Stone,
collection.
yeah, Standing Stone is really good as well. I really enjoy that one a lot. Especially you get the choir singing in the background. Just it makes you uh, want more because I mean it sounds really good. It's done really well. He surrounds himself with the best talent. You know, excuse me, because as we know, we can't write or read music, so
Yeah.
he's got to have a team to help him put his ideas down on paper.
Hmm.
And for the most part, I've enjoyed what he's done in the classical field.
Hmm. Did you do a show on that yet on Two Legs?
Yeah, we've had Alan Kozin, who is the co-host on Things We Said Today, and he was the classical writer for the New York Times. So he's kind of like the perfect person to have on to talk about those classical projects. We've done the Standing Stone and Liverpool Oratorio. He actually got to go to Liverpool to see the Liverpool Oratorio performance, and he got to interview McCartney for it as well. So he was like the ideal person to have on to talk about that. So yeah,
Okay, apparently Mary and Stella are guest DJing on SiriusXM right now. Yeah,
yep,
that's nice.
yeah,
Yeah, so what can be said? I mean, the next year it'll be the big 8-0 for Paul. Here we go. Most underrated Paul album, Kisses on the Bottom. What do you think?
possibly,
Yeah,
possibly,
that's something I was thinking. You did on your show, you did all the ranking of the regular original studio albums.
right, right.
But did you ever think of tackling some of the other ones like Run Devil Run and
Run
Kisses on the
Double
Bottom?
Run, the Russian album, Kisses on the Bottom. Yeah, we'll eventually get there. Yeah, yeah. Even the Electric Arguments album too. We may do that as well.
Hmm. Oh yes, I do think Back to the Egg is somewhat underrated.
Yeah, it's
And
getting more love these days, I think.
yeah, it's getting more. That's funny how that goes. That certain releases wind up getting more praise. Like what happened
Yeah,
to Ram, happened to
yeah,
even McCartney too a little bit when the archive set came out.
yeah. I think
But
there's a
will it?
generation of fans that listen to the critics and didn't really, give certain albums the time of day until years on, and then they're realizing that these albums they are good albums. I mean, even Wildlife I think has its good moments on there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But will it happen? This reappraisal for Off
Right.
the Ground. Will it happen? That's one of my most underrated Paul albums. Not that I think it's
Yes.
great, but
Yeah.
I do think it's
Yeah.
underrated. But
Right.
yeah, Phil mentions again, of course, the Get Back Disney deal, being disappointed in it. I don't know what to say. I am very disappointed. There's no getting around it, and I made all my thoughts clear in my video. But what are you going to do at this point?
It was always going to be on Disney anyways.
Yeah,
Um. So
afterwards
I mean,
maybe. Right?
yeah. Well, at the same time, because usually these nowadays they've got this some movies have been released in theaters, home video, and streaming all at the same time. On the same day.
Mhm. Driving Rain or Press to Play. Well, some
I
people do
mean,
look at it good.
yeah. I mean, I think if they put down a stripped down version of Press to Play and release that, if they do an archive set of that, I mean, I think people will kind of realize that these are good songs.
Yeah, they are very good songs. Yeah, if only they were just a little less slick,
Hmm.
Maybe slightly, maybe do what they did with Tug of War, remix the thing, and
Yeah.
instead of making it more slick, make it less slick. But anyways, yes, it is Paul McCartney's birthday, and I got I got the text message on my phone to prove it
Yeah,
from himself.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, you
I don't
gotta tap the you gotta show the picture.
Oh, there's a picture?
Yeah, you didn't see the picture?
Yeah, I saw the picture. There was one.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
picture right there. He's sitting on
Yeah.
the All Things Must Pass crate.
I responded on there. I wrote something like "Happy Birthday, Macca" from Mean Mr. Mayo.
Well, I'm
Gotta
There
put
you
that
go.
name in his head.
some
That'll get
recognition.
you noticed, Joe.
Yeah.
That's right.
But yes, it is Paul McCartney's 79th birthday, I believe.
Yes, nice. Yes, 79.
Oh, no, Sun Dodger, you're not the only one. Believe me, I
Yeah,
don't like it, but there are quite a few
You
people
know,
who do like it.
it does have its.
You were talking about press to play before I came on, so I just wanted to add. I've always stood by this opinion. I think that if they were going to do an archive release the right way with that, then a big draw would be to have all of those non-album singles and B-sides that were done. You know, like Right Away, It's Not True, Tough on a Tightrope. Include all of those in an archive set.
A hang glide as well.
Well, yeah, hang glide, I guess. So, I suppose, yeah. But anything that was recorded during the press to play sessions that actually was released in some form, but not on the press to play album.
Well, it wasn't. It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't on the original. Fucking Christ! It wasn't on the.
Hey,
I was very disappointed with what they did with the Flowers in the Dirt archive, not having, stuff like Flying to My Home on it and stuff like that. I'm like, come on, man.
Yep.
But I did like that the Wildlife and Red Rose Speedway sets, they had stuff like Give Ireland Back to the Irish, which I think is a very underrated Paul and Wings song. But I'm sorry for interrupting you, Tom. You may continue.
I don't even remember what I was going to say now.
Me neither.
I don't even remember what I had for lunch.
I'm sure the algorithms will pick up on that cuss word.
Yeah, sorry, Joe. Sorry, Joe.
So, I didn't know which way this was going to go.
So, okay, I remember. Okay, what I remember I was going to say. I mean, those three songs, they were on the CD, even though they didn't make the album. They made the official CD release.
Well,
so they did get an official release on the album.
Yes, they did, but they didn't get. But like, the only way to get them now is to buy that particular CD. Like, you can't get them on the vinyl.
Well, it's not a print, yeah.
You can't get them on the streaming service, which is really the easiest. I can listen to them individually on YouTube, but they're, crap sound quality because you're trying to listen to them on YouTube. But yeah, was it the original CD or was it the Paul McCartney
the original CD
series release?
The original CD had him, and the '93 release had him.
Oh, the original! I didn't know the original CD had him. See,
What
Richard's now supposed to be sending me a CD copy of Press to Play, so not sure where that'll go. Considering, I bugged him all the time about the vinyl thing, and just about the time he got ready to actually send it out, I'm not into vinyl anymore.
Well, anyway, what about this thing about Get Back film always being intended as a series? I don't know about that.
I don't recall seeing that.
I go two ways with that. Yes, I'm rather disappointed that we're not going to get to see it on the big screen. But at the same time, though, this is kind of better in a few ways because, like you mentioned in your video, Joe, it's going to be 6 hours long compared to just being 2 hours in the theaters. And
yeah, but I still,
as a subscriber of Disney Plus, this benefits me because I don't even have to leave my house to watch it.
Well, I don't look. You're a younger person. A lot of the younger people are a-okay with that. I think it's ridiculous. I'm a theater goer, and what are you going to do? I can't complain anymore about it. I said my piece on the video, but maybe I'll complain a little more.
It's the sound quality that you get in the theater that I was really looking forward to. I mean, the imagery itself will look good on the TV and in the theater. Really, it's the sound quality of hearing that music in a theater is what I was really wanting to.
Well, I was going to say,
and I'm telling you, pal, you're lucky you shipped that record today, pal. I was really going to come down there and knock you out.
It went out.
I must have missed something.
I'm teasing.
Well, really, I mean, and then people are telling me, look, guys, I'm not going to take a credit card and put my information. I don't do that. I don't care how old-fashioned that makes me. I'm not putting my credit card information on my phone and getting an app on the phone, and then take the phone and get it to TV.
You are smart for that, Joe. You are smart for that decision. Trust me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I've had my share of being compromised before, but not that. I'm not putting it on the phone. No.
For those of you that have seen the sneak peek of the Get Back film, I'm telling you, regardless if it was in the theaters or just on Disney Plus, like it's going to be, as far as the picture quality is concerned, I don't think it really matters, because comparing to what the original film of Let It Be was picture quality wise, because I've seen that it was leaked out on YouTube briefly, so I watched the whole thing. Oh my God, this looks like the film has not been, it has never been seen. It looks completely brand new and cleaned up. So I think regardless, the picture quality is going to look fantastic.
No, we can tell that.
Because if the rest of it's going to be like that sneak peek stuff was, you're in for a treat.
I believe it. Tim, how are you?
All right, Joe. How are you?
All right.
My thoughts on that are I agree with pretty much your video, Joe. If it's 6 hours of the Beatles and not a bunch of talking heads, and if it eventually comes out on physical media, then I'm okay with it. I'm not in love with it, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
But if it's 4 hours of talking heads and 2 hours of the Beatles, and then they decide to just stream it forever on their channel and that's it, then screw that.
Well, here's the thing I want to mention. I kind of mentioned it in the video, but I didn't have like a script. Sometimes if I have guide notes, bullet points, things I want to mention. Somebody mentioned a Vanity Fair article or something, and said in the Vanity Fair article, I don't know how old it is, that I don't know if it was Peter Jackson or someone affiliated with the movie who knew the movie, said it's not going to be talking heads. It's not going to have all these interviews. It's going to rest on its own. But then I thought, well, okay, but was that back a year ago or so when it was going to be a 2-hour film?
Yeah. I saw that video, and that person, I can't even remember who it was either, but they didn't know either when the Vanity Fair article was from.
So, I didn't see any video on that.
Yeah, I just mentioned it in the video.
What this thing is going to be at this point. We're just going to have to wait till it comes out to see for ourselves.
One thing I have changed my mind on positively since seeing the video is I was worried, oh man, because how are like some younger people going to see it? I thought, oh, this might, start a whole new generation of young people, just like the One album did, like the Anthology did, like Rock Band did. And then people told me, oh, well, actually, there's more of a chance with this for young people to maybe see this with the Disney Plus.
Yes, because streaming services are big with my generation. I know, because I talk to my personal friends, and they're all like, I talk to them and they're like, yeah, you're gonna get that on DVD or Blu-ray, and they're like, why do that? It's easier. It's much easier to just stream it on Netflix. So
there's an important moment that shows up. Like if they show George walking out, or if they show the little spat between Paul and George, those parts right there, I wouldn't mind a little talking head after that. I want to hear Paul's thoughts on the spat now. You know what I mean? And but I don't want a long, overdrawn comment. I just want a quick, this is what happened. It wasn't that big of a deal, or whatever. You know what I mean? And then go back to the video. So I mean, I wouldn't mind a few talking heads just to put things in context, or their thoughts on that.
No, I wouldn't mind that either. But then I thought, wait a minute, what happened to the idea that everybody signed off on this in the Beatle camp because it was going to be a more uplifting experience? I have a funny
Right.
feeling that they're not going to see any negative stuff in it. Although 6 hours, I mean,
I
I'm
just
confused
hope,
about that whole bit. 6
Right.
hours.
I just hope that they keep that very nice scene in the original where George is helping Ringo to ride Octopus's Garden. I really hope they keep
Well,
that.
that's already in the original. I mean, I love that scene. That's one of my very favorite scenes in the other than the rooftop concert itself. I love that little bit of business when Ringo and Paul are working together on George, excuse me, are working on Octopus's Garden.
Right.
But why repeat it in this? It's already in Let It Be.
And
I don't know.
I also really like the scene where I think it's For You Blue playing in the background, and they're in the studio at Abbey Road during a recording session. I always liked that scene. I thought that was a fun scene.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like, do you show the Maxwell Silver Hammer segment, even though
I think
it wasn't part of
were in
the,
that scene.
even though it
Right.
wasn't part of the Let It Be film. I mean, Let It Be album. You know what I mean?
yeah. Well, that was badly edited, the original Let It Be movie.
Yeah.
On it, anyway.
Oh
But
yeah.
this comment that's up here, not sure anyone can do as badly as Ron Howard did with 8 days a week. He means no matter how bad of a job they do on Get Back. For me, I like the 8 days a week film, but that's because I wasn't expecting it to be just a lot of live stuff and nothing but straight live footage.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the original concept was just to be a documentary on Beatles as a live band, and too bad it didn't really finish that way.
I mean,
Well,
I enjoy it for what
you
it
can
is.
only go so far with that kind of source material for a documentary because if you think about it, the Beatles stopped touring in 1966 and did not go on the road again of any
But you're
kind
talking about
until the rooftop concert.
but those 3 years are their biggest years. You know what I mean? Those are 3 of their most important years: 64, 65, and 66. You know, I mean, that's the height of their popularity.
Yeah, well, really, the height of their popularity is Pepper, but
No, it wasn't.
No,
No.
you look at album sales. I mean, if you want to go by popularity, look at the record sales, and especially during the 8 days a week documentary, because they show you, they show you the charts. You know, this album was #1 for 53 weeks or whatever. You know, and then the next album was #1 for 30 weeks, and then the next one was #1 for 20 weeks. So it's actually, as the movie is going on, you show them progressing. I mean, not progressing, degressing, then progressing, really. So their most popular time, they had the most singles out in that period of time. The most success, I think, with album sales.
4 albums out in the U.S. Per year.
That's their most popular.
If you really want to get down to it, because if you count introducing the Beatles and then Meet the Beatles and the Beatles' second album and A Hard Day's Night soundtrack and Something New and Beatles 65, that's like 6 U.S. albums in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yep. You name another band that did that.
They had the top 5 singles.
They didn't do that.
Right.
Mason They didn't do that. Mason Capital did that.
Yeah,
that's what I mean.
That's a video I have to make one day about punching a little hole in the Beatles having all the top singles in that week, and because that's me trying to be a little bit more critical of something that I love, because it's not as amazing a feat as people think, in my opinion. I have reasoning for that. I've said it before, but I don't know. I don't want to say it here or save it. I don't know.
Yeah, make a video of it for it.
Yeah. That's a good topic. It's just my opinion. Well, I'll say it this way a little bit. It has to do with when a new band is really hot. Yeah, and how can you get their music? How many ways? How many labels offering their music? And does that happen all the time? Let's see now. There's a lot of comments here, buddy boys.
Did anybody
Yeah,
catch Richard's Paul McCartney birthday stream? Because I got the notification for it while I was at work, and by the time I got to my lunch break, he was already done.
yeah. While I was at work, I watched a little of that, and he was playing "From a Lover to a Friend" from the
Oh
album
gosh,
"Thriving Pain."
that
No,
song, that song, man, that's not the worst thing on that album, but it definitely ain't the best. No, the worst stuff I think on that album is the instrumental Heather, just knowing the subject matter that it's about. And I want to say Freedom is a pretty lame song.
I didn't hear "From a Lover to a Friend" in quite some time. I like that. I guess it's the chorus. I like that line, "From a
I
Lover to a
like the
Friend."
song. Don't get me wrong, I like the song, but I think there's some better songs on the album than
No,
that one.
I agree with you. But getting back to that song when he was playing it, I like that part. But I do when he started doing the la 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 stuff, I was like, oh come on, man. I mean, he does it before. I love "Off the Ground," the song, even though he goes la 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 la. So it doesn't. It's you can contradict yourself in other times, I guess.
I do think that Rinse the Raindrops is a pretty epic moment on that album,
Well, I
though.
do
And
like that.
I would have been more appreciative of it if that had been like it was supposed to be the album closer, because it just would have closed the album perfectly. But unfortunately, because of 9/11 events, Paul decided it was necessary to write a tribute
Yes,
song to that. And that's not the problem. The problem is tacking it onto the back of an already ready to put out release,
which is long enough as it is.
Yeah, well,
Um,
yeah.
Well,
well, what,
the Disney must know something that we don't know when it comes to theaters. If theaters chains are not going to open, or if they're not opening as rapidly as they would like, I mean, why even put it out in 2 states or 3 states that are more open than most states? I mean, if they weren't going to make as much money as they can putting out in theaters, then why bother? I mean, if that's what I think.
I mean, I do get the idea. I mean, they didn't give any reasons, did they? I mean,
Not really, no.
No.
because if they say, look, we waited a long time, but it's gotten to the point where we
Right.
see that we still can't make it a go of this thing in the theaters. It's not enough. I can almost understand that for sure, but I wonder
I
if
think
But then again, bands are going back out on tour in August. You know what I mean? In closed facilities, or stadiums.
true.
they're just trying to get more subscribers to their
Well,
channel.
there's
Well,
that too.
that's always a possibility as well. But you know what? They're going to find a lot of people are going to subscribe to Disney Plus, where they're going to watch it 3 or 4 times, and then they're going to cancel.
Yeah, I'm
Exactly.
going to do what Caitlin Larkin said and get a free week
Right.
subscription and then cancel it.
Now, I'm
Yeah.
I have no
probably going to,
interest in
if I'm
Disney
going to do
Plus.
this, I'm the kind of person, I don't want any mishaps. I'll probably join considerably early and play around a little bit to make sure I got it down
Well,
how to do it.
From a longtime subscriber of Disney Plus myself, I'm just going to say, if you like Disney movies, if you like Marvel movies, if you like Star Wars, then Disney Plus has more to offer than just the Beatles Get Back film.
Nothing for
Yeah,
me.
well, I guess so, but I'm not wild about all those Marvel films anymore. I think that's kind of done to death personally.
Nothing
But
for me.
Fair enough.
And I like the song Heather, by the way. It's my favorite on the album, despite the subject matter.
Well, I want to like the song, but
And it's
knowing
not an
the subject
instrumental.
matter that it's about.
No, it's
prevents me
mostly
from
an
being able to
Mostly,
instrumental.
though.
There are
It's
lyrics
mostly.
towards the end.
you remember my
it's not
story with
your-
that?
It's not your traditional. It's not your traditional instrumental.
I need to give that album another appraisal. It's been a lot of years, and I gave it maybe listened to it 3 times, not much. I didn't like it any of the times, but that's why I never went back to it. But I always tell the story. I was listening to Rob Leonard's Beatles show, and he was playing a song by Paul that I didn't know. So I don't believe I don't know this, and it turned out to be, I think it was, is it About You?
You're
That's the name of
saying
it?
Oh, that's actually one of the best things on the album.
And I said, "Oh, that was
I
a
love
pretty
that
good song." So I said, "Oh, well, that was," and that was for. I forgot about that one. That was from Driving Rain. And then one time I was listening to the Sirius channel in the car, and lo and behold, this mostly instrumental song, I guess, came on, and I'm like, "This isn't bad either." I don't remember what this was. And it's Heather. I'm like, oh, well, there's two. And I like Rinse the Raindrops, and I'm starting to like. Oh boy, I don't know this album well. The opening song. What is it?
Lonely Road's actually
Lonely
pretty
Road.
good.
I like Lonely Road's good.
I think I can't remember. It's either Tiny Bubble or Spinning on an Axis. One or the other, I think, is better than the other one. I can't remember which one of those two because I remember them being very similar to each other in parts. So and I haven't heard the album in its entirety in quite some time. I need to revisit that. But yeah, About You is probably one of the highlights. It's just a fun song.
All you horse riders, get your horses out. I remember hearing that on the Lost McCartney album bootleg.
Yep. Yep.
They called that
Most
maybe
of
his
those
very worst
came out,
song.
didn't they?
Say again?
Most of those came out on the box set, didn't they?
Yeah,
I
the
don't
McCartney
think they
2
all
set.
did, but I think most of them did. Like
Yeah.
All You Horse Riders and Mr. H. Adam and
Mr. H. Yeah, I kind of like that one actually.
Yeah,
yeah, I
me
do
too.
too.
Was that?
Yeah,
see,
I mean, so you could realistically make the proposed double album McCartney 2 with the archive release.
I don't remember what was. Oh, see, it's been a long time since I delved into the
Well, wasn't
McCartney
it till
2
the Red Rose
archive.
Speedway was originally going to be a double album, and then I don't know what happened, but for whatever reason they cut it basically in half and only released like 8 or 9 songs for Red Rose Speedway.
The studio didn't want them to release a double album after the poor reception of Wildlife.
Well, maybe what they didn't realize was a double album may have saved them. But I guess
it was a number one album. It was a number one album. I mean, it was fine the way it was. It was the bloody Red Rose Speedway album. It sold. So what?
Did it really sell? I don't know.
Well,
it was number one. It sold a million copies.
I don't like that album.
As much as I have issues,
I like that album. It's in my top 5.
But I will say, I liked it a lot better when it came to listening to the originally way it was intended.
Yeah.
With a double album. For some reason, it worked better for me that way.
Yeah. That double album that they put out a couple years ago was enjoyable.
I think that the Red Rose Speedway album sold well because as many issues as I have with this particular song, My Love, I still recognize that was the one thing on that album that was pulling it to chart as highly as it did.
I never think of Paul as having too many disco days. Goodnight Tonight is pushing it, and then Daytime, Nighttime Suffering.
Yeah. Lawrence Hubert does not consider that a disco song.
Suffering is the superior song, I think.
Goodnight Tonight has more of a Latin beat than anything else.
Right.
And Daytime, Nighttime Suffering is just classic Wings altogether. That was technically their last single, right? That Goodnight Tonight and Daytime, Nighttime Suffering, right? That was Wings' last single.
No. In the U.S. it would be Arrow Through Me.
And eventually, we already have Driving Rain lined up to be one of these days when we do another listen. That's one of the albums that's going to be in that Another Listen series.
All right. John is right. Congratulations, John.
Well, what did I miss? It's a disco song no matter what Lawrence thinks. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, for a disco song, I mean, it's okay to be included. I didn't mean it's an okay song. I mean, it's okay to qualify as a disco song, I would say.
Well, it's catchy enough for me to like it. I mean, the whole "Don't say it, bitch." That's kind of fun, but I wouldn't go out of my way to say that the song is, definitely one of his best at all, because it's not. a lot of these groups and acts by the late 70s, early 80s were kind of selling out to disco briefly. I mean, you know, Paul and Wings did it, like we just discussed, and the Beach Boys did it with a remake of one of their songs from Wild Honey, which the Wild Honey version was way better. Who else can I think that did it that sold out to disco in the late 70s and early 80s?
Kiss did it.
The Stones kind of did
Rod
it.
the Mod, Rod
Rod
Stewart,
Stewart.
Rolling Stones.
Rod Stewart loved it though. Rod Stewart.
I
was
loved
gonna
it
say
too.
that,
That was damn good. Do you think I'm
Rory.
sexy is a great song, man?
The Stones kind of did it with Miss You.
Yeah, Stones. Everybody, what was going on?
And I have no problem with it. But I think, would you agree that McCartney, the biggest disco song, maybe is "Daytime, Nighttime Suffering"? It has that beat. Boom.
No.
But what do you think is?
Oh yes, that's right.
Goodnight
Elton John
Tonight.
too. I forgot about that when he had that "Are You Ready for Love" thing with the Thom Bell Sessions thing.
Mama Can't Buy Me Love. Yes.
I disagree with this statement a million times over. I love that song, and I love Mick Jagger talk singing on it too. Don't forget, though, I used to make out in the car with my girlfriend, not this girlfriend, the girlfriend of the day, back then. So a song always reminds me of that. What a good song that was. I think how I go. I'm gonna go on a detour here, folks. And I just think of the world.
With our guts, Joe, these days, the back seat just isn't as big as it used to be, huh?
It isn't. It isn't as big as it used to be. But I'm saying, even then, when I think of that, it's not just that I was younger, like I was about 18 then. It's like, this is when I go on my detour. It's a whole different world. Like, it's just a whole different place. Free. It was so much nicer, easier. And no COVID and no masks and all that. So anyway, what else going on with Paul? It was his birthday.
Yeah.
I made 2 videos today.
I'm surprised that he didn't. I'm surprised that he didn't surprise us on his birthday with the announcement that he's making McCartney 4.
We'll get back to that, Tim. I don't want a McCartney 4. I think 3 is beautiful, a trilogy or whatever. 3. That's it. 1, 2, 3. We don't need 4. We don't need 5.
Well, do you think he's
perfect.
done as far as making any new studio albums?
No.
I think he's done making studio albums in 1978. I mean, he's been saying that forever. Is he done? He said he was done years ago. No, would you agree?
He won't be done until he's dead, and then even then, he'll still be. The family will still be putting out, material that he's recorded from the past.
By that point, that hologram thing that they're starting to use for certain things will be probably
that's gone. That's done. The hologram idea is done and gone.
Amen, John. Amen to that, boy. I like disco now. I thought it was so silly when it was out, but I like it now. But Tim, were you going to say something about like a minute or two now ago?
I said I made 2 videos today. That's all I said.
I made 2. First, I thought you said you met 2 Beatles.
No, I made 2 videos today.
That's it. Keep them going.
One's just a little bit of humor, and the other one I did a Beatle Brad thread video. I hope that one made it up. The check failed, so I hope you can watch it.
Check failed.
Yeah, it checks your video before it puts it up, and it failed. But it said you can put it up anyway. I don't know why. There's no music in it, nothing like that, so I don't know why.
That's very
so I put it up anyway. See what happens.
Cool. We'll check it out. Tim Allen channel. Check it out.
What else we got here?
I do like that room of yours, Tim. The red room is a pretty cool room.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get more people like the room than me, but that's all right.
Throughout his career, Hey Jude, I think is a strong vocal performance from Paul.
Oh, darling.
Oh, darling. Absolutely. What we talked about last week on.
This one's probably a more underrated one when it comes to this kind of stuff, but I'm gonna go with The Night Before.
That's what I was going to say.
Tim,
I like his voice on that.
I saw it.
Yeah, I really like his voice on that.
What does he do with it? I mean, isn't it double track for one thing or no?
I don't know, but it's
But he
just
does something
different.
with it.
You Never Give Me Your Money, I think, is great.
Yeah.
I also like Wonderlust because he sings
Wonder.
in
I mean,
two
I
or
was.
three different voices on that
Yeah,
track, and it's
yeah.
just an amazing
I was,
vocal.
Monkberry Moon Delight. It's crazy.
Oh, Mark
There
Berry
you go.
Vanderlide is one of the best vocals he's
Yeah,
ever
well,
delivered. We're
the
talking
whole
like
Ram
maybe
album,
level.
he
Yeah, the
uses
whole
so
Yeah,
Ram.
many
Ram.
different
The,
voices
the
on that album.
range. Yeah, the range
Yeah.
is fantastic. 1985, I think, is a great vocal performance from
Oh
Paul.
my
How about
God.
House of Wax? At least the part when he tries to reach those
Eh,
high bits.
Yeah, yeah.
1985 is a bit ahead of its time because that came out in 73, and I heard that song for the first time, and I'm like, this sounds more like a late 70s song, like starting into disco period.
Oh, Woman of Why. Yep.
That's a good one.
Oh yeah.
Of course, I'm down.
Yeah, I'm down.
Mambo?
Well, one of his greatest days. One of his greatest days in the studio was a couple days before his birthday in 1965. What does he record? He records Yesterday, I'm Down, and I've Just Seen a Face in one day. I mean, look at those vocal performances on just those 3 songs alone.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the song Wildlife has a very good vocal from Paul.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It may not be a very good
Whatever
song
happened to
particularly, but anytime that Paul goes in that, that Wildlife song voice or Night Before, you know what voice I'm talking about, Monkberry and Moon Delight, that kind of Paul voice, I really dig that vocal style of his.
Oh, it didn't happen. That's exactly from the pound is sinking. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
There's some good
that
vocals
part
on
is good
that
as well.
album.
I don't
Yeah.
hear anybody saying women and wives. I love it, but I like the voice in it, but I don't know if it's one of his
Yeah.
best.
I love his falsetto on So Bad.
Mm.
Thought that was a good vocal
I
performance from
like his
Paul.
falsetto on Girlfriend.
Yeah, Girlfriend.
And I'm sorry,
No More Lonely
Richard,
Nights is a great
I gotta go
vocal.
with the Wings version of Girlfriend as opposed to the Michael Jackson one. I'm sorry, buddy.
Anytime, Old Siamster too. Anytime he has that rough, raspy,
Yeah.
rough vocal. I mean, he does it so well. He just,
Yeah.
he didn't do it enough.
Well, yeah. Any.
Well, that's all he can do now.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
speaking. Because Old Siamster reminded me of another song from Back to the Egg that I think he delivered a really good vocal performance on. I'm going to say the Winter Rose bit. That had a really, really soft vocal from Paul, and I think his voice really worked on that track.
I think it was better in Winter Rose, Love Awake.
Channel's Abbey Road voice. The end of I really love "Come On to Me" now. I didn't like it at first. Now I really like it. And there's one where he's doing like do 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 do.
Right.
I love it.
I mean, something like, and even the Silly Love Songs is a terrific vocal performance as well.
Oh, what about Flying to My Home? I always thought that was a good vocal from Paul.
It was, but I mean, again, they use studio trickery to mess with his voice. So I mean, it's not really his voice. I mean, it was
like a Ram vocal. Flying to My Home was like a Ram vocal.
Right.
Bogey Music does have an interesting vocal.
Speaking of that, Joe, Coming Up had a great vocal from Paul.
I know John liked it.
Well, Waterfalls has an interesting vocal, that raspy-ish kind of voice.
Yeah, the end of With a Little Luck, he gets a little raspy. With the with the end of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think that was just from touring, but I think that was the first signs of Paul's voice going that early.
I remember noticing it around that time. Don't forget Check My Machine, one of my favorites. That's a great vocal.
But enhanced with studio trickery.
Yeah.
Sure.
Temporary.
Secretary. Beautiful Night, I think, is a great vocal. Great Day is a good vocal.
Yeah, Ringo does a really good vocal on that one. Just kidding.
I'm going to go ahead and say that I think the World Tonight is a really interesting vocal because to hear him go that low with his voice.
Right. Little
I never
Willow.
cared for the World Tonight.
I
The
didn't want
first
forever
single,
with
I
this.
was very disappointed.
I don't think John would have liked Get Enough.
Nobody likes Good Enough that I know of.
I think John would have experimented with auto-tune once.
I think he would have because he didn't like his voice.
He didn't like his voice. Right.
But the whole problem whenever we do that, not just with John, but anybody who's not here anymore, it's natural that we tend to go by where they were at that time in their life.
Yeah.
Because he might have changed his views on certain things.
Yeah. But he was pretty consistent on not liking his voice.
Yeah.
But then when you think about it, though, how about Double Fantasy? There's no trickery on that, or disguising really on that.
And I thought
a little bit of echo, but not as much as usual.
I just thought of another one that I always remembered liking his voice on "Beware My Love," where it gets really rocky.
Yeah, I do like the song "Figure of Eight," but it's not fantastic or anything.
I think because the live version
on that song though.
I like the single "Figure of Eight."
Yeah, the single it was 10 times better, I think, than the album cut.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has the bit, is it better? That bit. It has that repeated a few times in the single version where it was just used like once or twice in the album one. And that's probably the best bit in the song vocal wise.
I think they used that rehearsal. I think that's where that comes from. That rehearsal on that Put It There special. I think that's where the single comes from. I think they used that version to make the single and mixed it with the album version and came up with that. Because it sounds exactly the same to me.
Well, one thing I hope we can all agree on is that Trippin' the Life Fantastic version is not the best one.
Nothing.
I'm not wild about that album in general.
Tripping Alive is the best of anything. It's just okay. I can't think of any songs that are great on Tripping the Life Fantastic. I mean, it's nice to see him do them. It's nice to see him do the Abbey Road medley, and it's nice to. I don't think they're particularly good.
After Trippin' the Life Fantastic, he had the Unplugged thing in '91. He had the Paul is Live thing in '93. So yeah, I think Wings Over America definitely set the bar high for McCartney live albums. Set the trend for that.
I didn't like the original mix of that though. Wings Over America, too bassy. At least the U.S. pressings were. I have a German pressing that sounds a lot better.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Well, I certainly always agreed with this.
Yeah. I mean, it would be a completely different band without Linda, and I don't know if it would have been as catchy.
Oh yeah, I'm reading the comments there, and someone's mentioning "Motor of Love." That's probably the worst thing on Flowers. I'm sorry.
I don't like it.
It's just
too
forgettable.
long, 6 minutes. That was just way too long.
Forgettable. What the hell is he singing about? At this point I don't even know.
Heavenly Father.
Nothing wrong with that. Just terrible song.
But My Brave Face, fantastic song. He when he got together with Elvis Costello, I think that team up saved his career, because if you look at what had come out prior to Flowers in the Dirt, Pipes of Peace, Broad Street, Pressed Up, they had the hidden potential in it. And then the Russian album was just really all forgettable to me. And then he comes out with Flowers in the Dirt, and I've always said this. I've said Flowers in the Dirt, at the time of its release in '89, I would say is probably his best album since Tug of War.
Well, it was, I think
it hasn't aged well.
I agree with that.
He was still having success though in the UK. He was still having moderate success in the UK. You know, the Rupert song was a hit in the UK. Once Upon a Long Ago was a hit in the UK. You know, so he was still doing well.
I love Once Upon a Long Ago. That's a fantastic song. But that whole Rupert thing, like, come on, man.
Even Broad Street, I think, was #1 in the UK as an album.
Well, I like what he does with the original songs on there. No More Lonely Nights, Not Such a Bad Boy, No Values.
Only 3.
Those are great. Those are great songs.
It's not that hard to write 3. That's not even an EP.
Here's the annoying part about that album for me. It's fine if you want to like re-record some old Beatles songs. No problem with that. My issue is why re-record your own songs that at that point are only like 1 or 2 years old.
It was for your own songs. Were you trying to promote them? I don't know.
It was Tug of War and Pipes of Peace reimagined, of course.
Yeah, I was never fond of the Elvis Costello collaboration. I'm sorry. I know it's supposed to be like you know.
Oh, I think it worked out brilliant.
There's too many words in My Brave Face. I mean, you can tell Elvis Costello had his hand. I mean, I'm a huge Elvis Costello fan, but Paul can't sing that many words. Elvis can, but Paul, he's kind of tripping over it. There's too many words.
He did a good job. He did a good job doing it, but
yeah, he did. But you can tell he didn't write it.
The first time you hear My Brave Face, all you can keep thinking is after stuff like that was on like Speed of Sound or London Town that had those, you know, lyrics that didn't really make a whole lot of sense. You know, Paul's all at that time was kind of getting a bad rap for writing lazy lyrics. You get Elvis Costello in there, and you're listening to My Brave Face, for example, and every single line of that song makes total sense. It's easy to follow what he's singing about.
Yeah, but it's a mouthful though. It's like, you know, as I throw away another untouched TV dinner from the table that I made for 2. I mean, it's a lot coming out of his, you know, at the same time.
I've never been a big fan of that song. It's okay, but you know, it's just okay. And at the time it came out, I called it, and I'll still call it, for me, a step in the right direction. But I don't think that you know, he was coming back. But I don't think that was a great album. And some people really go nuts over that album.
I loved it when it came out.
So, Flowers in the Dirt announced the idea that Paul may be coming back. Flaming Pie was when he came back.
Well, it was his best album in a long time. How many years? I was going to say 5 years. I just on my math.
It was
15 years.
Well, you know, I understand. You know, coming right off of the anthology experience, Paul kind of wanted to, you know, incorporate some of that Beatle-y friendly sound into his next solo album. And, you know, he got Jeff Lynne and Steve Miller involved, and, you know, even Ringo on Beautiful Night. And then he comes out with Flaming Pie, and as a total, I think it paid off for what he wanted it to be.
Well, what he wanted it to be and what I enjoy are two different things. I mean, I like some of the songs on it. My favorite thing that they did together, Elvis Costello and Paul, is Back on My Feet, which wasn't.
That was pretty much done. That was pretty much done. Is Elvis Costello did, you know,
earlier
help out with someone. Yeah, that was the first thing they did too. Was Back on My Feet.
Well, that was done. Wasn't that like the B-side of Once Upon a Long?
Yeah, I bought that on a 12-inch.
Yeah.
But anyway, and Spies Like Us, I am a fan of Spies Like Us.
I still think he could do that song live today. I think he could do that. I mean, it's not a tough vocal performance. You know what I mean?
No,
I think he could still easily do that. Yeah. You know, with Wicks in the background, you know, with his keyboard, you know, he could easily do that.
That song, I love the rock. It rocks, that song. I don't care about, the words are ridiculous, okay, but it's all right. You know, if you're enjoying the song, you can take ridiculous words. And other times, it's funny how you can't if you're not enjoying the song.
I think one of the worst examples of Paul's lazy lyric writing for me is probably on the song Press. Oklahoma was never like this. What the hell is he talking about with that?
It means whatever you want it to mean.
There you
It's
go.
an old saying.
There you go.
He's just
That's even
using
better.
an old saying. It's an old saying. It existed.
Tim, you got to come on here more often. You know, it's like you don't take anything either.
No, I don't. I have opinions, and I will state them.
Very
And I
good.
have opinions too, and that's just one of my opinions. I like that song, Press. I think it's a good, catchy, fun song, but I'm not wild about that one lyric. I think he could have took the time to write a better lyric for that song than Oklahoma Was Never Like This, or at least thought it through more. But that's just my opinion.
I said it was an expression. It was an old expression, and
Yes, I like Once Upon a
Used
Long
it.
Ago too.
see, that's a song I don't like, and I always take crap for it, but I just don't.
Yeah.
I
don't
think
like it.
it's a
I was
beautiful
disappointed
song.
that it should have been released here as a single. I think it would have done well.
Well,
They should have at least released it here somewhere.
You know what I love about
They
the
didn't
song?
even put it on all the best.
Well, no, you did on the UK version though.
I know, but that's what I said. In America, they didn't release it anywhere.
I know
They could have
that-
at
and
least
that-
stuck it somewhere. They didn't.
I think I think the strongest part of that song, what hooks me all together, is when he goes into the harmonizing bit midway through the song, and I'm like, oh my gosh, these are classic McCartney harmonies on top of what is already lyrically and melodically a great song to begin with. So 3 A pluses for me. And the whole bit, once upon a long ago, children searched for treasure. He's telling a story in that song that he doesn't often do in his songs. Definitely not much anymore.
He already tells stories a lot.
He tells a story in Lavatory Lil.
Yeah, that didn't do so well in the ranking thing on Two Legs.
I had it in my top 5.
And Pretty Boys being number 1. Woohoo! That was a shocker for somebody.
Yeah, for
I
Dylan.
like Pretty Boys. I like it better than Women and Wives, vocally at least.
Try not to put the John quote up, but it is true. It has a lot of words in it, but it's really done well. Give me some truth.
Yeah.
Where did I hear that Slidin' was the only song on that album that wasn't like all McCartney,
Right.
like help
Right.
on that?
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Tom, there were, thinking about items. Well, this is between Tom and me, really. I'm being vague, but a couple of items I want to show on a certain collectible
something
show.
else we're doing. Yeah.
And I think that I'm going to have to beat you to the punch. I can't think of anything
Yeah, I'm
else.
really upset because I was the first person he asked to do it, and I just couldn't have the time. I had to,
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
2 weeks, but yeah, no, dude. I mean, you got
that's fair.
you do what you want, man. It's
I don't show the one that the main one that we mentioned, which I know he's always your standby thing. You always show. I notice a lot of times.
Right.
Then you better do it. You better show it if I don't show it.
No,
But
go ahead. I mean, I've got plenty of stuff.
People look at it, they go, "This guy's got like, tons of collectibles." I mean, what I mean, I do and I don't. But what am I going to show? Paul McCartney collectibles.
Well,
I mean,
first of all, you got his autograph. You can show the autograph.
Well, I was going to do that anyway. And there it is, right up there, folks. Wait a minute, I can't do it, boy, right there. That's it.
You got that promotional piece behind you. You can show.
Don't worry. That's missing the cassette, by the way. It's supposed to be a cassette in there. Don't worry.
I'll overnight you the cassette. Okay?
Yeah. By the way, believe me. My autograph thing was already a sure thing.
Yeah.
I got to take it down, of course, but that's another story.
Oh, darn it!
Oh, wait a minute. Because it's Paul McCartney's birthday, and I just happen to be holding right here a CD copy that has the one collaboration that Brian Wilson and Paul McCartney ever did. A Friend Like You. For those who have heard it, any thoughts?
It's a good
No
song.
thoughts.
I don't know
I
it.
think
Yeah, it was on Brian
that's why I don't know
Wilson's
it.
solo. Yeah, it's a Brian Wilson solo record. Paul didn't have anything to do with the writing credits, but he came in and did the duet with Brian Wilson.
I think
I
it's
really
a
shouldn't allow for
song
this. This is the big time, buddy.
because it's so hot out here, even with the fan on, that I have to be shirtless. I'm not kidding.
Oh, well, that's okay. Then I'd rather see the Avatar.
But yeah, it's a very decent song. I wouldn't say it's a great song, but let's just say this: Paul's got a better vocal than Brian does on that song. Because
Anybody does, no? What year is this song again? 80s?
2004.
Oh, geez, I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I know?
And
Forget
the
it.
album that it's on
What
is
album
actually
is it on?
Print.
What's the name of the album, Mason?
Getting In Over My Head, but it's out of print now because
Yeah.
apparently it was released by Brimel and Rhino. So that gives you a clue as to why it's out of print.
I know. Aren't you surprised? Me too. The thing is, I got it in 1993. It's been exposed, true. And I know all about that kind of thing, and I really shouldn't have done it. But you know what? If you have it, you want to look at it. I don't understand the part of the idea of hiding things and to keep them. What can I say? It's never in direct sunlight. The window is underneath it. I don't know if you can see the blinds. There's blinds up right underneath it. I'll never have it in direct sunlight. I never haven't. And, in all the places I've lived in the past, I can't do the math, 93, 7 years, 8 years, 28, yeah, 13. Yeah. And I will say this much, though. I always tell it, originally it was a very bright blue Sharpie pen, and now it's gray. I will say that. But then again, Linda's hasn't changed a bit. Linda's is right next to it. And Linda's was a black Sharpie, and it's exactly the same. Nothing's ever changed. But if you didn't know it was bright blue, you'd never suspect anything. But I'll never put in direct sunlight. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Yes, this is true. This is true, Mark. I should have did that 28 years ago.
Did they have it 28 years ago?
Oh, it must have. And even the frame I put in, and I'm better than that with stuff. I'm surprised, but I never would take it out. I don't know why I had this frame. They used to put them in 5 and 10 stores where you go in and it's just plastic. It's a plastic frame, and they have these like really thin. You pull off black sides, and you just like put it under there and put the black frame, snap them on, and it's like wow. That's all I did. And I would never change the frame because I'd be afraid that if I pulled that plastic off, that I'd pull some of the autograph off with it. Yeah. Nice full autograph.
What are you guys' some of your guys' favorite moments throughout his career? Tim?
Paul's career?
Yeah. What are some of your favorite moments?
I thought you tapped my career.
Personal.
Seeing him twice. Second time was better seats, but I don't know if the show was better. I saw him in '89 in Toronto.
Okay.
At the baseball stadium, whatever it's called. I can't even remember right now. But I was literally about 2 rows from the roof, straight back. I couldn't have been any farther away. Paul was about this big.
Right.
And the sound was very echoey too, but it was still a great show, and I was still very glad I went. Second time I saw him in '93, I was like on first baseline in the Baltimore Orioles ballpark.
Okay.
And that was a better place to see him. Not a better show, I don't think. I think the first tour was better. But I'll never forget this. He messed up the words to Yesterday. I swear to God. I burst out laughing, and I wasn't the only one. He got two of the verses mixed up or something. I don't even remember now. But I'm like, he sings that song every day of his life. He has for 20 years, and he messed it up.
He was probably reading all the signs, that people are holding up, and
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, those two are my best.
Yeah, I mean, seeing him do Penny Lane in the '93 tour, was really special. For me, that was the first time I got to see him, was the '93 tour. But then 14 was pretty good as well. I mean, he hadn't really come to Arizona a lot. He'd only been here twice since I've been here 11 years now, and he's only been out here twice. Whereas he's always playing the East Coast.
Didn't he even go to Lubbock, Texas?
That seems too small, but I don't know.
He toured Lubbock, Texas one time too.
But yeah, I haven't seen him since '93.
Oh yeah, Lubbock's just about 3 hours away from me. So that if anything, a special memory of mine from Paul would have to be the fact that he toured Lubbock, Texas, which is 3 hours away from where I live, and I didn't even know about it at the time, and so I missed out.
Okay, Joe.
Well, it would have to be the Up Close concert from 1992 when I won the tickets from the radio station to get to see that, which was being taped for MTV. And yeah, he did a show on that one on Two Legs.
Right.
And I got right up to the stage. Well, a little away from Paul, standing up in the front of that gap between the first row, and I don't know if they remember if there were seats at all on the floor. And that was the Ed Sullivan Theater. So that's another thing. Say, the venue. It's the historic Ed Sullivan Theater. Before it was David Letterman studio.
Yeah, wasn't that about the last thing that ever happened there before they gave it to Letterman and tore it apart?
Yeah.
So it was still basically the original Ed Sullivan Theater when he did that, and it wasn't when Letterman took it over.
And if anybody's interested, you can look up a video I did. I think it's called something like the time I got up close to Paul McCartney or something like that. I got up close to Paul, something like that. And I show you the video and I kind of highlight where you can see me, getting up close. And that's got to be the highlight personally.
That was a really good show. You were lucky. I mean,
Yeah.
I have the bootleg of that.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's really, before, because when they showed it on MTV or VH1, there's a lot of overdubbing.
Oh, is there? All I know about that one,
overdubbing.
all I know about the VH1 is that they also used the two shows. They did two shows,
okay,
and they alternated, between shows.
Okay. And that could be some of it, but I'm pretty sure there's some overdubbing because on the VH1 program, Penny Lane sounds exactly like the record, and it didn't sound exactly like that.
Well, I don't know. That was the
It was
first time.
good, but at least the bootleg version I have, it doesn't sound exactly like the record. It's not even. And I have the CD too, and it doesn't on the CD either.
Maybe that was from the other show. I don't know. I don't even know if I have a copy of the actual broadcast version.
I'm pretty sure there's overdubbing.
I think what Tim's trying to say is it sounded like.
I think Tim knows what he's saying.
I think I know what Tim's trying to say.
They overdubbed the live take and just got lazy and threw the Magical Mystery Tour.
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying, and it's customary. Most people do this. They go back and sweeten it. They go back and fix some vocals and do all of this stuff before it goes out. They do it on live albums. They do it on everything. Yes, they sweeten.
Like the Kiss Alive album.
I believe they did that with Shea Stadium. I think they went back in the studio at some point and did. I think, if I got my facts right, the Beatles.
Well, like Paul singing "Let It Be" at Live Aid.
Oh, that was such. That was such a disappointment. I remember when that was actually on
Oh,
live.
Did you guys see that when it aired originally?
Yes, I did.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
And it's hard to believe, but back at that time, I wanted him to do "Let It Be," and then,
Right.
now I'd be like, "No,
Yeah,
don't do "Let It Be"
yeah.
again."
and you can hear on the version that's available now when the mic comes on, because the audience just goes nuts, because there's in the middle of the song, there's this cheer and this applause, and
Yeah.
the mic's gone on.
But I heard that he did fix that, right?
Yeah, and he went back on the next
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Right after the show, he went and talked to the people and said, "Look, my mic was out. For posterity, can I come in tomorrow and do a vocal for this?" And they said, "Sure."
Right.
And he said, "Okay." He did it the next day.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was that was disappointing when it happened. I mean, it was an accident, it was a mishap.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't.
And then there was the mishap for the
Dylan
Olympics
got it worse.
Who
Do you
did?
know the Dylan story? Dylan
when he was
got it
doing that
worse.
with Keith Richards and Ron Wood, when he was doing
Yeah,
that stuff.
they came and unplugged all the monitors and everything. So you listen, Ronnie Lane is holding his guitar like this up to his ear trying to play. And everybody like, Dylan was terrible. Dylan was terrible because they didn't have even one monitor. Nothing.
Mm.
Well, look, I'm a Dylan fan, but he's not known for his concert appearances at that era much anyway, I don't think.
No, but that I felt so sorry for him. That was awful.
He looked lost and nervous and stuff like that too. I don't know.
My favorite thing is right after that, the encore happens, and Dylan's on stage for about a minute of it. Then you see him just running away. He's like, "Okay, I've had enough of this." And he's actually running. He's actually running off the stage at one point.
Yeah.
He's gone.
Yeah, I like his early stuff. Live stuff. Early 64, 60, 63.
I generally
65.
like most of his stuff up until the mid 70s.
I mean, live. The live
Yeah.
performances.
Yeah.
I didn't used to, but I like that 74, 75 tour he did, whatever it was called.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
white makeup. I like that now. I didn't used to, but I do now.
Yeah,
this is going to
the
go a little
road.
out left field, but I just now got this into my mind. Do y'all ever see that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction for the Beach Boys where Mike Love is basically trashing the Stones and Mick Jagger for no reason?
Sure. And and Diana Ross also.
I mean, what the hell was his problem?
And that's
He's
great,
your
though.
boy.
I like when Dylan comes on and he says, "I want to thank Mike Love for not mentioning me."
No, it wasn't Dylan. It was Elton John, and Elton John came up and he's like, "Thank fuck he didn't mention me."
No, well, it was Dylan, but it might have been Elton John also. But
well, in the video I saw, Elton John came on and said,
trust me, I'm old. I was there. How old are you in '88? I'm saying I don't doubt you that there's also an Elton John one, but Dylan did say that in his speech. The one with the cussing might have been is Elton John, fine, but trust everybody knows it. What am I sitting here defending it?
Well, in the video that I saw, it was just a short clip of Mike Love's speech.
Tim and me are all alike. I could sense it. I could feel it. I just feel you like you're seething.
All I could see into the video.
Maybe not seething, but you're like, oh man. Oh.
Yeah, there's quite a few bad speeches for inducting people into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Anybody ever see Billy Joel inducting John Cougar Mellencamp? It's a good speech if you don't dig very deep into it. If you dig deep into it, Billy Joel isn't talking about John Cougar Mellencamp at all. He's talking about himself. Billy Joel wrote a speech about himself. Just inserted John Cougar Mellencamp when the name came in. He's talking about how you can't get played on the radio anymore, and blah blah blah. And he's talking about himself. He's not. It's the most self-serving speech I'd ever heard. It's great though.
Neil Young's speech for McCartney wasn't really all that like heartfelt or anything like that. He's I just think he's the greatest songwriter, and da 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 da, and here he is.
Probably what he says about everyone. That
I
he
like
does.
Billy Joel myself, but I wonder if he's scared to put out another album. He doesn't want to ruin anything.
Well, the fact that it's been so long, I think it would be successful because it would just be highly anticipated, and it would sell, I think.
Yeah. I heard at the time of about the time of his box set, whenever that was, that he had done an album and Columbia rejected it.
Mm.
And that was it. It was sort of a standards album. I don't think he was actually recording old songs. I think there were covers on it. In fact, that single that he had out about that time, the Dylan song, I think that was one of the tracks from the album. And he'd done a whole album like that, and Columbia rejected it. And then he just said, okay, screw it.
I did see an interview with Billy Joel at one point where somebody was hammering him about putting more music out, and he said, "I mean, why?" It says the Beatles only had like 12 albums. Yeah. I remember him like comparing himself to the Beatles.
Yep.
Yeah, so boy, this one I knew this would go in a lot of different directions, and that's fine. It's not just all about Paul. It's not Paul or nothing.
It doesn't. I can. we can go there.
Well, I like that. I like
you
that.
You talk about the glories of driving rain all night if you want to, but
I like
no.
In the chat there, Mike loves himself too much. That's.
Oh yeah, Mike Love. What was that all about? What was that about? Was he drunk? What was up with that? But he's always a jerk, I heard.
Well, yeah, he really is. He was the guy. Brian Wilson's collaborator for Pet Sounds confessed to have hearing the word for word. Mike Love told Brian, "Don't fuck with the formula."
I didn't notice this when I said it, but there you
I
go.
know you're not a fan of Pet Sounds to begin with, Joe, but that's kind of a dick move from Mike. I'm sorry. He's just got an ego bigger than life. That's his biggest problem.
Well, I know it has nothing to do with his lack of hair. That much I know.
Well, it's the fact that I think he
can't be egotistical about his head of hair. That's for damn sure.
I think in a way he's envious that Brian has more talent than he ever did, and I think that's kind of why he is the way he is.
Everybody who's ever been in the Beach Boys has more talent than he has. But I'm including John Stamos in that.
I gotta give him his props for the singing.
You know, that guy
singing.
He always looked like he never knew what he was doing when he was with the Beach Boys. Like he never knew why he was there.
I mean, you got to give him credit. He sang some wonderful songs. He's talented as vocalist. But you can't say that he was like a driving force in any of the studio albums back in their main heyday.
No. The guy behind all the production work of those early albums, in fact, is Brian Wilson. Now, Smiley Smile Onward, it's credited to the Beach Boys instead of just Brian Wilson. But nowhere does it ever say produced by Mike Love. Now, not until Summer in Paradise, but that's another story.
Mike Love is the Davy Jones of the Beach Boys. He shakes his tambourine when he's not singing and just stands there.
That comment right there. When we were interviewing Lawrence Kuber, I asked him about this right here about the workaholic, and he says that he didn't think Paul was a workaholic, but he just had a great work ethic, and he thought that was the difference.
I would have a great work ethic too if I was doing what Paul does.
Yeah, maybe. Because they would say, the workaholic, you're working like 24 hours, 20 hours a day, nonstop. Yeah. He said that he would purposely, work a 4-hour block, take a break, hang out with the kids or whatever. Go back, work another 4-hour block, and that's pretty much it.
I've heard Ringo use that term to describe Paul, though.
Yeah.
Workaholic. He said, well, he's the workaholic.
I agree with that, Stephen. Dennis Wilson is the George Harrison of the Beach Boys in terms of the fact that both of them never really got into it with the songwriting until well into their careers, because Dennis Wilson didn't even write his first song until 1968. George didn't even write his first brilliant song, being While My Guitar Gently Weeps, until 68. So
I disagree with that.
You don't think Don't Bother Me is brilliant?
Yeah, Don't Bother Me. Don't Bother Me, in my opinion, is the best song on their second album, and it's the most mature song on their second album.
Something tells me Tim Allen is going to have to come on some of these rankings, but we finished the Beatles one. Well, no, we still have Past Masters, and Let It Be's already taken.
There you go. Second Past Masters.
Yeah, Tim, come on the fab.
But the problem with that, though, is that there are so many tracks that if you have more than two people, it can go on a while.
Yeah.
Well,
you
the
could be
second Past Masters
last night and just say the name of the song and then shut up.
Yeah, what Ethan did.
Oh, yeah, okay. You mentioned that I didn't. You mentioned that I didn't. I was watching it. I'm like, oh man, say something about why you don't like the song. Something, anything.
Oh, I say what I want to say. I don't. I'm not worried about losing subscribers on my channel.
Well, I mean, I'm not always very good, depending on the song. I'm not always very good at coming up with, I didn't like the fuzz bass was a little too accentuated here, and he uses a Gibson SG here, and Fender there. And,
I'm not good at that either. But,
I can't. I don't know all that stuff. Some of it I know, but it sounds good or it doesn't. I don't know what to tell you. Or like I said with. You Never Give Me Your Money. Like I said, like I like the way it changes. It goes all over the place. It's different territory all the time, and that's how I did it. I don't know what kind of guitars are being played. I don't know what brand of drums or whatever. I don't know whatever it is. So. And I said, here's the thing too. When I was talking about Mean Mr. Mustard, and I said, there's something about it. I said, I know, folks. I know it's not a tuba. I know it's not, but it goes like, and somebody said, well, that's the synthesizer. And then I read other people later after the show saying it was a bass, but I forget what kind of bass it was called for that. So see, nobody's jumping on it, so I don't know. But there's, it wasn't fuzz bass. That's a thing for yourself. But what?
I mean, after all, that one song alone was the inspiration for your channel name, Joe, in a way.
Yeah, it was. Not in a way, it was.
Well, looky here. We have a celebrity in here, Joe English from Wings.
Hey, Joe, what do you say? I hope it's the real Joe.
No, it's not. Trust me.
No.
Come on, put the Bible
pretty
down,
much know who it is now.
I'm a believer too, but put the Bible down.
I want to ask you a question about the song, the one vocal that you ever did in Wings, which was Must Do Something About It. I think it's a very interesting vocal of yours, and I really like the song to begin with. But you add something special to it with your vocal take on there. Care to elaborate on that a little more?
Yeah.
This is very, 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 it's pretty cool. You see, maybe I was afraid to say that. I really love that song, and I don't remember where I put that in when we did the ranking. Don't remember.
It's my favorite Beatles song at the moment. It has been for a couple of years. I love the double track vocal. I mean, I love that it's, I mean, my second favorite is probably All My Loving, but I mean, Paul's just singing, this is my loving, I will give to you. George is actually saying something. George is telling a little story. He's just broken up with his girlfriend. He's miserable. Leave him alone. For 1963, that's brilliant. As far as the Beatles go,
there's a couple. There's a few people that I feel like when I hear that song, I'm like, yeah. There's a couple people out there that would just leave me alone. Don't bother me.
And All My Loving's double track too, but there's some obvious blunders in there. Yeah. You can tell that he's like that's singing it in sync 100%.
I wish they would have left the hi-hat on it everywhere, but
Germany, I don't know.
Germany's got it. I love the hi-hat.
I mean, it's cool. I mean,
opening.
the intro, right?
Yeah, I love that.
It's cool. It's cool as a curio, but I like it the way it just starts without that.
I like the hi-hat.
Yeah, Not a Second Time was absolutely one of my favorites on there. Also,
yeah, me too.
We were talking earlier about really great Paul vocals. That's a really great John vocal from a very early period in the Beatles.
Not a Second Time, I think, was the song that had the Aeolian cadences.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, whatever.
Egypt
those
Station is a pretty good album. Pretty good.
I never rocked out to Egypt
but
Station.
I don't think. I mean, somebody that I know thinks it's great.
It's not the kind of album that headbanger like you're expecting. It's in many ways it's very similar in some ways to that of London Town. You know, a very, very quiet album.
And London Town, I'm sorry, folks. I gave it another spin the other day, not too long ago. Mediocre.
That was another one I loved when it came out until Back to the Egg, and then I kind of threw it. I'm like, all right.
Yeah. There are a few songs on there I really like, but
London Town, I think, was very unexpected. I mean, if I was a Paul McCartney fan like I am now in '77 or '78, and I hear London Town, I'm kind of confused because the last 3 years, especially the year before in '76, it's a rock and roll band, for the most part, and then you get London Town, and what's lacking. The rock and roll aspect is not really there. I mean, it's more of a folk song or folk album than anything.
Speed of Sound.
Every time, well, not every time, but it was a 3-piece again, so it's Paul's show, and that changes things. Not
really. Most of the album is the band. Most of the album has Jimmy and Joe on it. I mean, it's just I think there's pretty much like 2 or 3 songs that are just a 3-piece.
Really? I always thought it was a whole.
Most of the album.
He did an interview for it in '78, and in the interview he said it was a 3-piece.
Right. Well, he's probably pissed off that they left the band or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, you look at the credits. I mean, it's still you still see Joe and Jimmy's names on that album. So they did rock it. I mean, they did play on a lot of that album.
So what's better, McCartney 3 or Egypt Station? For me, I agree with this comment. I like McCartney 3 better.
Oh, much.
But even Speed of Sound even had its fair share of soft moments on it.
So what do you think of Egypt Station or McCartney 3?
I'm right now. I have McCartney 3 slightly above Egypt Station, even though I do love Egypt Station as well.
Yeah,
I think McCartney 3 in about 10 years or so, I think it's going to be considered one of his best albums of all time.
And Egypt Station will be sorely forgotten.
When? Amongst the fans.
That's good enough for you, Joe, huh?
No, I mean, it's again, it's like I said, pretty good is the term I use. It suits it perfectly.
Pretty.
Not pretty good. Just pretty good. It's above average. Above average.
I enjoy it.
For me, it's about where Memory Almost Full is, which isn't very high on my list either.
That's gotten higher for me lately.
Here's the thing. Here's where I stand on that album. I love the first half of it up to Mr. Bellamy, and after that song, I can't dig the rest of it.
Oh, the medley is the so-called medley, which was his first since Abbey Road, if you didn't know, according to Paul, is it's not a traditional medley, but I mean, the only thing that really sucks about that medley is during Feet in the Clouds when he's going real, very, 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 very,
that.
Yeah, that's the only thing that, in my opinion, that really sucks about that medley. But I love Vintage Clothes, and that was me. House of Wax, End of the End.
And then, Paul's lying about that. That's not his first medley since Abbey Road. What about the thing on Red Rose Speedway?
Yeah, that's what I said. And as far as new, I love new. I love that album. And I
Yep.
really now if it, and I know people are going to think this is who I saw on Egypt Station because Egypt Station kind of like people forgot about New when Egypt Station came out, but that really isn't the reason. If I thought it was really really good, the hell with New, but I like New better than Egypt Station.
Mhm.
I'm going to. I always mention I don't want to put Sun Dodger one. His name's Gary on the spot here, but I do this. I have to mention whenever I see him, I think when I started my channel, there were a lot of people that influenced me to start, and this guy was one of the major ones that is the reason I started a channel. Gary used to be, he's not here so much, very rarely makes videos now, but he used to show a lot of Beatles stuff. But anyway, it's funny you should mention that. There's somebody, I won't say who it is, you know how people are. Oh, what'd you say it was me for? But it's somebody that's on YouTube. He's not a Beatles guy per se, you know, and he recently bought like a cheap $2 copy of Speed of Sound, and he's like, that sucked. He thought, because he liked the two hits on it. Me personally, what can I say? I love the two hits, "Let 'Em In" and "Silly Love Songs." I love "Beware My Love." I like "She's My Baby." Um,
Yeah.
Those are the main tracks I like on it.
Yes. Here's what I'll say about that album, and it sums it up pretty nicely. "Cook of the House" is my 5th favorite song on that album.
And I have, yeah, right.
That sums it up nicely
Yeah.
for me.
I mean, the other thing I like about it is that even though I would rather the other guys in the band not get all this equal time, I kind of like the fact that they made it a band album. It's kind
Yeah.
of different in a way, even though he did that also on Venus and Mars.
Venus and Mars too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it really started with Venus and Mars, and
Yeah.
I would say I want to say that my favorite song on Speed of Sound is probably one that not a lot of people would say is their favorite, and it's not even a Paul.
Don't say the note. Don't say the
vocal.
note you never wrote. Don't say it.
I was going to say "Must Do Something About It."
Oh,
because I
Must Do
just
Something
I
About
love that
It's good.
song, and I love Joe English's vocal on it. I think he's got
Paul
a
wrote that song, you know that though, right? Paul wrote
Yeah.
that song. Paul
Yes, I
wrote
didn't
that
say
song.
that. I didn't say that it's not a Paul original. I said it's not a Paul vocal.
I like "Time to Hide."
I
Cricket.
yeah.
Crickets.
I like the note you never wrote, but not as much as some of the other songs on the album.
I mean, Speed of Sound could have been another masterpiece with, especially the silly love songs and "Let 'Em In" on it. But again, you recording it between two legs of a world tour, for the most part. So I mean, it was maybe not rushed is the right word for it, but the fact that Paul does give vocals to the other three, I think was a good idea. I mean, especially doing that tour, because then all of the vocals, it's just, you don't have to rely on Paul for the vocals, even though I'm sure that's why everybody was there. So
What do you
I'm
guys?
sure
What do you guys think of Wino Junko?
it's
It's
okay.
okay. I'm not.
All right. Nothing
I
terrible on it, but there's nothing great.
Well, I think
either.
Jimmy McCulloch has a pretty chill vocal on it. I like his vocal on that song.
I love
actually.
"Medicine Jar."
Medicine Jar is a great rock and vocal for Jimmy McCulloch.
That's one of my top shining moments on Venus and Mars for me.
Yeah, I think that's the best of the two songs for me from Jimmy.
Yeah.
He only had two. Is that really? He
Lead
only had that one
vocals.
at Wino Junko. That's the only two.
Yeah.
Because I guess he had his overdose not too long after Speed of Sound.
No, I mean, 3 years.
Yes, but in
Let's
those
talk
3
about
years,
the
he didn't really do anything vocal wise.
How did this turn into a Paul McCartney podcast again?
Hey,
It started out as one.
let's talk about the cover of "Wings at the Speed of Sound." Ooh,
Boring.
man.
Oh yeah, great,
That's not a
fantastic.
mistake.
I like the
Boy.
back cover. Back covers, nice.
No, sorry. There you go.
It's
Can't
just,
see
I
it.
think Back to the Egg is
Venus
just
and
about
Mars
his
was
best
such an
cover.
interesting cover.
I love that cover. "Back to the Egg." Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just about his best cover.
I think one of his most interesting covers might be the Press to Play one. The fact that it's an old 50s style shot of Paul and Linda. I'm not saying it's a good cover. I'm just saying it's an interesting one.
I like the cover, but as I always say, I don't think it suits the album at all. Personally, it doesn't fit that album at all.
That album is not 50s nostalgia. It's current 80s synth pop. if anything.
Well, that's earlier than 50s, even, I think. No, it looks more like something in like Hollywood or something.
Yeah. Typical 40s Hollywood glam.
I thought it would have made a good, in retrospect, Kisses on the bottom cover. Actually,
Right.
I actually like that album. I'm probably the only one.
That's the only.
I like it better than
studio
Egypt
album I've ever
Station.
heard.
I'll tell you
Well, I
that.
wouldn't go that far.
I don't like it that much, but I enjoy it from time to time. You know, it's not the one I'm going to put in a steady rotation.
You know,
but I
wanna-
do enjoy it.
when I want to hear that stuff, what I tend to do is I tend to put on the live Kisses performance.
Oh yeah, that's a good performance.
Yeah, that's
It's a good
good, too.
DVD Blu-ray for those
I
that don't have
I don't
it.
know if that's been sweetened or anything, but it doesn't sound like it. But I prefer. I think he sings better in that than on the album.
Right.
You know, I watched it on Valentine's Day actually with my girlfriend.
Oh,
It might be a tradition
you're
now.
so romantic, Joe.
Well, that's our song, My Valentine.
Big softy.
I like My Good Friend the Milkman. That's probably my favorite one.
I like
I
there's a
just
song
say-
there that I love that I always it's the very words I ascribe to, and it's
Am I
accentuate
allowed-
the positive. Mace, would you let me get it out, please? Accentuate the positive. You know what it is? I can't see it. I can't see it, so we don't know when you're speaking or not.
I was just gonna say, am I allowed to say that Bye
Nope.
Bye Blackheart's probably the highlight off of Kisses for me?
No, because Ringo's blows it away, in my opinion. Ringo's Bye Bye Blackbird is a lot more fun, I think.
The whole Sentimental Journey album is just I have a soft spot for that album. It's just a fun album to listen to.
It really may be even better than Paul's, in my opinion. I don't know. It's the production's really amazing. The musicianship's good on. There's different producers on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm in the mood to hear big band style music. Yeah, and when I'm in that mood, I have a fun
I think it
experience.
benefits from having a different conductor, or you know what I mean, for every song on that. Or
I have a local radio station that actually plays Blue Turning Gray Over You quite often.
For
on
Ringo's?
radio.
really,
Really. That's why I listen to that station. Like if they're gonna do that,
I could do a whole show talking about Ringo. What are you kidding? I love Ringo.
yeah.
I want to meet Ringo. Really, Ringo, if you're out there, I want to meet you, man. Come on.
I've never seen him live.
I was
He's
so close.
definitely a more outgoing person than Paul is, personality-wise, because Paul is just his personality always has been just rather bland compared to the other four.
I don't know if I'd even go that far. And I always tease Paul, but
John was definitely more interesting as far as his personality. George, not so much. George was always kind of the quiet one. But in later times, we found out just how interesting of a person he actually was. Paul it always looked like he was happy all the time, up until he did Chaos and Creation, and finally opened up about his feelings.
yeah, that's his Vulnerable album.
Well, somebody asked the question, what was the last? I think it was, what was your last favorite McCartney album, start to finish, or whatever? And I would say Chaos and Creation is probably mine.
Well, mine is probably McCartney
Chaos
3.
and Creation is a beautiful album.
Well, yeah, McCartney 3 comes close for me.
Get behind it. That Chaos and Creation is just, it's so good. It's Paul opening up and being as honest as he possibly can be. It's a side of Paul that we never really saw before, and we probably never will see again.
It depends when you're asking like honestly. I mean, I listen to the whole album when I listen to it. Like that's one thing that when Two Legs does their podcasts and their rankings, like I know your partner Andy, he'll sometimes say, "Oh, I skipped that one. It's like I don't skip tracks on.
I don't skip tracks either.
On solo albums anyway. But very rare. If I have a CD and I'm in the car, I might on other people skip around. But anyway, but if you mean like, do I think every song on the album Is that what you mean? Like, I wouldn't skip it, anything, and any of the albums.
Right.
You mean, are there songs that I think are maybe like, because even on McCartney 3, if I was doing that exercise of ranking, I probably would put Deep Down last.
Mm,
And it's interesting when I was listening to that ranking of McCartney 3, people had what's When Winter Comes,
right. Pretty low.
Yeah,
and low, and I'm thinking,
low.
yeah, I think I would too, believe it or
I
not.
would too. I'd probably have it 10th.
Mm.
It just
Deep
doesn't
Down,
fit.
for some
But
reason, Deep Down reminds me of Driving Rain era Paul. For some reason, just I think it's the production of the track.
I put Long Tail Winter Bird as number 1. And I know I'm alone there, but
No, I
I
do
don't
like
think
that.
it's
I do
too
like it.
long.
No,
I
I
don't
like
think
it.
it's too long. I think it's perfect and a great way to open an album. And
I
Yes.
think it's a good
I
album.
like that
Album
album.
opener.
By a minute in, I already liked McCartney 3 better than I liked Egypt Station. By a minute in, I'm like, all right,
Yeah, I
this is
hear
a
that.
better album already.
I
For
like the
me.
1-2 punch of that, and then right into Find My Way, which I think is
Yeah.
a fantastic
Yeah.
1-2 punch.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
And
me,
I'm
all right.
with Tom on that. I really like that one.
If I had any nitpicks about Long-Tailed Winter Bird, it's that for the intro song to the album, it goes on a bit too long. But that's just a small nitpick.
Boy, this is a lot of fun. But I'm going to be having dinner in a few minutes, so I don't know the
Joe, can I
progress
just
of
make
that.
can I make a little short statement about the Two Legs channel, if you don't
Sure.
mind? We are 3 subscribers away from 600. So if you're a Paul McCartney fan and you want to talk about, you want to hear some fun, intelligent discussions on Paul McCartney, the middle of my name here, Two Legs. If you type in Two Legs like it's spelled under my picture there, and check out our podcast or video cast. Like I said, we're 3 subscribers away from 600, and I'd really appreciate if you guys checked it out.
Cool. And on Talk More Talk, we just hit 1,000.
We just hit
Over
1,000,
now.
which is really exciting.
Very good.
Yeah, so I'm happy about that.
Right.
That's always fun to do. One thing I wanted to say before I forgot about McCartney 3 is I've gotten to appreciate this song, Deep, Deep Feeling. It's not my favorite, but I think I've really come to appreciate it.
Now,
I understand it better.
the production on that song, when I heard it the first time, reminded me a lot of the Chaos and Creation era production, just the way it's set up. Not really lyrically, but just the instrumental production.
Mm.
So
Okay.
already I could tell that with McCartney 3 right off the back, I could tell that he was kind of referencing other, time periods from albums prior to it. Like I mentioned that Deep Down reminded me of the Driving Rain era, and Deep Deep Feeling reminds me of the Chaos and Creation era. Obviously, When Winter Comes is going to remind me of the pre-Paul losing his voice era. Well, as far as his voice starting to age is what I'm trying to say. Find My Way, that song reminds me of a song that's not even a Paul song at all, not even related at all. It reminds me of the song Learning to Fly by Tom Petty.
Mm.
Learn to fly,
Yes.
ain't got wings.
Hey, Grant, man, it's called Two Legs, a Paul McCartney podcast.
I'm sorry, what was that? Okay,
That's all right. No, that's okay.
Here's the thing about. Well, first of all, let me respond to this. For me, I've said I love Women and Wives. I don't know, I just love it. I love the mood of it. I love the feel of it. I love Paul's deep voice on that. I love the way he changes a little bit. He said he was doing Lead Belly, but whether he was or wasn't, that was the inspiration. I just love that song. Pretty Boys, not so much. I mean, it's okay,
See,
but Women and
I went
Wives is
the
either my
opposite
number
way
one
with
or number
that.
2 on the album.
I like Pretty Boys better than Women and Wives myself.
Now, the thing about Soily is I just don't get it. I mean, I don't know what that means. Does anybody know what that means? Or maybe that sometimes that can be part of the fun. I mean, you know, I know
Yeah.
like Monkberry Moon Delight. What the hell is Monkberry Moon Delight? But it's
Well, I mean,
great.
that was a bit that they would do around the kitchen or during breakfast or whatever. I mean,
Have a little
he has
Monkberry Moon Delight.
talked about where the title has come from. Yeah, Monkberry Moon Delight.
I mean, I really don't have much use for Soily. I'll be honest with you, but I like that he drags it out. Puts it out there.
I think
At
it's
the
a great
concert.
rocker. Yeah, I
You
think
know,
it's a great rocker. And it took a lot of balls to close the shows with that here in America.
Yeah.
You know, he did play that song a bunch in the UK tours prior to. So the UK fans were more aware of that song than here in the States. So he must have thought very highly of it if he closed out just about every show in America with that song.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the salamander line somebody's asking about. What's that about?
Well, salamander, what it means is the spark. It's heat. You know, kind of like, you know, when you first meet somebody or, you know, fall for somebody, there's a kind of like a spark. You know what I mean? And that's what the idea behind my salamander. The word salamander itself is like a spark, a heat.
Didn't Lawrence Juber try to explain that?
Yeah, and that's pretty much what he described it as. Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about Back to the Egg again. Great. Old
Well,
Siam
much
Sir
I gotta
is
go
the
now.
best thing on that album. Discussion closed.
First song on that, best song on that album
is Old Siam Sir, in my opinion.
That's my favorite. That's right now is my favorite song on the album.
Cool.
Old Siam
Getting
Sir.
closer for me.
It's just
And getting closer.
It's just
Getting
got a
closer.
building, rising energeticness to the song. You know,
Errol Truly might be my favorite.
And Love
Yeah, I
Awaits
like
probably my second favorite. I love Love Awaits.
Yeah, I love those two together.
I like Winter Rose
Bootleg
better.
version is 5 minutes long.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Well, and I love So Glad to See You here. That
I
really
love the whole
rocks.
album. There's nothing I don't like.
I
on
still
that
say,
album.
even though I love the song "Baby's Request," I don't think it fits that album.
I think it's a nice way to end.
But,
I don't.
But he'll have some songs like that. Well, I mean, Morris Moose and the Grey Goose is kind of really doesn't fit London Town, but
fit anywhere.
well, I think it's a fun track myself.
Neither does Cafe on the Left Bank, really.
He
I
does.
love Cafe on the Left.
Anybody ever notice he repeats things like this? He skips a few albums and does it again. Like Morris Moose and the Grey Goose is a lot like However Absurd. I mean, he'll do these things. He'll skip a few albums and he'll do it again. It's kind of the same song. You know, I mean, there's a bunch of those.
Okay.
Are you got to go, Joe?
Getting a knock on the door. Dinner's ready in 5 minutes.
Okay.
But that's the thing. So we have a chat, have a good time, and don't want to leave. Yeah, Baby's Request is a good closer. I just think it closed it with something else.
I think it belongs on Kisses on the Bottom myself because it's kind of
well, he put it on Kisses on the Bottom.
On one of the versions, anyway.
It's a special edition, though. Yeah.
But Back to the Egg was about getting back to his roots, so he ended with like a 20 song because it's back to his just back to his roots. Period.
Well,
I like it on there actually.
Really, for the first time since what's the song on Venus and Mars? Help me out here. I'm forgetting the name. I know the song, but I forget the name. Sometimes.
You gave me the answer.
Song?
Yeah, you gave me the answer. That was like the last time until Baby's Request.
That's more of Paul's granny music, right, Andy?
Yes.
Anyway. Yeah. It says go ahead and eat, Joe. We'll wait for you. We'll be here when you get back. Yeah, but after that I'm gonna have some quality time with that's where we watch TV and stuff. My
you're gonna have some quality time with your better half.
Yeah. That's what they call it. I don't want to discourage any of the women out there that or anything. Any of the groupies.
Groupies? None of their famous groupies. That song, it's catchy, but it doesn't make any damn sense.
Makes sense, but
terrible. This is where I'm going to end this. Let's say happy birthday, 79th birthday to Paul McCartney.
Yeah, birthday, Paul, whoever he is. Watch my video and you understand that.
Happy 79th and many more years to come, Paul.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And thank you, three guys, for joining me on here. By the way, I'm just going to say, because I want to, I sent a message to Richard Dolan telling him I was going to be doing this and would he be able to join me. And that was like before I started, like, and he saw the comment because, when he read it, didn't even freaking respond. Thank you, Richard. He didn't say I can't make it or yes or no.
Yeah, here was your opportunity to speak your mind about your favorite subject matter, Richard, and you declined.
Yeah, so we'll try it another time, folks. Please, thanks everybody for watching. Be here again. And Tim, you're a lot of fun here too, so I like you being here. And Mason, you're always a regular. Yeah, so you're welcome.
Oh,
and
yeah, that he just
Check out
uploaded
my
a video.
podcast.
Oh, go ahead. Why don't you promote that?
All
Yes,
right,
promote it.
snapcracklepop.podomatic.com, or just go to podomatic.com. The Snap Crackle and Pop Vinyl Hour. It's also on everywhere. It's on I can't ever think of these because I don't stream. It's on Spotify. It's on iTunes. Anywhere you can listen to music, it's there.
Yeah.
Snap
I'm
Crackle Pop,
everywhere.
the Vinyl
No
Hour.
big deal. Snap Crackle and Pop Vinyl Hour. Yes. All right.
Yo,
All right, folks.
You just mentioned Richard, and right after you did so, I just got a notification that he put out a video. So that's where he's been.
Oh, well, that's nice of him to manage to get a little promotion after all. All right,
Yeah.
everybody.
Videos,
Talk
and
to
I'm
you all
here.
soon. Take care.
Bye,
Thanks for having me on, Joe.